On September 8, 2017, a 33-year-old private investigator named Taylor Wright disappeared without a trace from Pensacola, Florida. At first glance, it looked like a woman simply running away to escape her problems: a divorce, a custody battle, and financial stress. But what police would later uncover revealed something far darker: a betrayal so personal, so cold, that even seasoned detectives struggled to believe it. This is the true story of Taylor Wright, a story of friendship, trust, deception, and murder. Taylor Wright was not the kind of woman who blended into the background. Friends described her as sharp, confident, and tough as nails. She had worked for years as a police officer before becoming a private investigator in Pensacola. She knew how to read people. She knew when something didn't feel right. But even the most intuitive person can be blinded by trust, especially when that trust is placed in the wrong hands. Born in Tacoma, Washington, Taylor grew up with a strong sense of independence. Her parents divorced when she was young, and she quickly learned to take care of herself. That self-reliance carried through her adult life. After college, she joined law enforcement, driven by a desire to protect others and expose the truth. Her colleagues said she was fearless, someone who wouldn't hesitate to walk into danger if it meant getting justice. In 2016, after nearly a decade in the police force, Taylor decided to make a career shift. She became a private investigator, using her investigative skills to handle missing person cases and insurance fraud. Her work brought her a small but loyal group of clients. And it was during this time that she started a new chapter in her personal life. Taylor had been married to Jeff Wright, but their relationship had begun to crumble. The two had a young son together, and when their marriage ended, it was far from peaceful. Jeff accused Taylor of being reckless with money and emotionally unstable, while Taylor accused Jeff of trying to control her. The custody battle over their son became bitter, expensive, and exhausting. To make matters worse, Taylor's close friends said she was dealing with mounting stress from the divorce. She had withdrawn about $100,000 from a shared account. Money, she said, belonged to her, but she feared that Jeff or the court might seize it before the divorce was finalized. So she turned to someone she trusted completely: Ashley McArthur, one of her closest friends. Ashley wasn't just a friend, she was someone Taylor saw as family. She was 40 years old, outgoing, funny, and seemed to have her life together. She came from a well-known Pensacola family that ran Pensacola Automatic Amusement, a jukebox and vending business that had operated for decades. Ashley had an easy charm. People liked her right away, but beneath that surface, there were cracks no one could see. Ashley and Taylor had met through mutual friends a few years earlier. Their personalities couldn't have been more different. Taylor, disciplined and intense. Ashley, carefree and charismatic. Yet they clicked. They both enjoyed riding horses, drinking wine, and gossiping about their relationships. Ashley was also married to a man named Zach McArthur, though their relationship had its own share of problems. In the months leading up to Taylor's disappearance, she had been living with her new girlfriend, Cassandra Waller. Cassandra was kind, soft-spoken, and deeply in love with Taylor. But she also saw how much pressure Taylor was under. The divorce, the money, the custody fight. And when Taylor began confiding in Ashley about everything, Cassandra wasn't entirely comfortable with it. Taylor told Ashley that she didn't trust banks and wanted Ashley to hold on to her $34,000 until the divorce was over. Ashley agreed. Taylor believed she was being careful, but she had just placed her entire savings into the hands of someone who was already drowning in financial trouble. Unbeknownst to Taylor, Ashley was struggling behind the scenes. Her amusement business was barely breaking even. She had borrowed money from several people, including her grandmother, and was rumored to be embezzling from the company. To make matters worse, she had a reputation for gambling, partying, and having affairs. On September 7th, 2017, the day before Taylor went missing, she texted Cassandra that she was planning to meet Ashley the next morning to get her money back. She wanted to close that chapter once and for all, get the $34,000, finalize the divorce, and move forward. Cassandra later told investigators that Taylor seemed relieved. She said, "Once I get this money, everything will finally be okay." The next morning, Taylor and Ashley met at a bank in Pensacola. Security cameras captured Taylor withdrawing money from one of her accounts. At 10:20 a.m., she and Ashley were seen driving away together in Ashley's black Ford F-250 truck. That was the last time Taylor Wright was seen alive. Hours passed, and Cassandra began to worry. She texted Taylor repeatedly throughout the day, but received no response. That wasn't like her. Taylor always checked in, especially when she was with someone. By nightfall, Cassandra's worry turned into panic. She contacted Ashley directly. Ashley responded calmly, saying, "Don't worry. Taylor's fine. She just needed some time alone." She claimed that Taylor had been stressed about the divorce and had asked to be dropped off at a bar so she could relax. But when Cassandra asked which bar, Ashley couldn't remember the name. The next day, Cassandra filed a missing person report with the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. She told detectives that Taylor was not the type to disappear. She had a son, a career, and too much to lose. Detectives began piecing together Taylor's last known movements, starting with her meeting with Ashley. When officers questioned Ashley, she stuck to her story. She said she had dropped Taylor off at a bar near the Tiki Beach area, that Taylor seemed upset, and that she had mentioned needing a break from everything. Ashley even showed them a series of text messages that appeared to be from Taylor, saying she needed space. But something about those messages felt off. The tone didn't sound like Taylor. Cassandra told investigators it didn't sound like her at all. Taylor never said things like that. Detectives began to wonder if someone else had been using Taylor's phone. Over the next few days, investigators subpoenaed cell phone records from both Taylor and Ashley. What they found began to unravel Ashley's story. Taylor's phone had last pinged near Ashley's family property, a rural plot of land in Cantonment, Florida, about 20 miles north of Pensacola. Ashley's phone at the same time was in the same area. After that, Taylor's phone went dark, permanently. Detectives paid another visit to Ashley. This time, they pressed harder. Ashley laughed off their questions, saying, "You're barking up the wrong tree." She claimed she had no idea where Taylor was, and that maybe Taylor had run away with someone new. But detectives had a gut feeling something wasn't right. Ashley's demeanor didn't match that of a worried friend. She wasn't emotional. She wasn't panicked. She was flippant, even cocky. When they asked her if they could search her truck, she agreed without hesitation. At first, it looked clean. But when they checked the bed liner, they found traces of soil that matched the type from her family's farm. As the days passed, Ashley's story began to crumble under scrutiny. Detectives uncovered that she had deposited $34,000 into her own account shortly after Taylor disappeared, the same amount Taylor had given her to hold. When confronted, Ashley claimed Taylor had told her to keep the money as repayment for an old debt. But Cassandra and Taylor's family insisted no such debt existed. Meanwhile, detectives discovered something else. Ashley had been having an affair with a woman named Audra Parker. Audra told police that Ashley had recently begun acting strange. She seemed distracted, nervous, and was constantly checking her phone. In one chilling text, sent just days before Taylor vanished, Ashley had written to Audra, "It's hard to kill someone who loves you." At the time, Audra assumed it was a joke. She would later testify that Ashley had a dark sense of humor and often said unsettling things for attention. But that message would soon take on an entirely different meaning. As investigators dug deeper, they learned that Ashley's grandmother's property, where both phones had last pinged, was massive, stretching across acres of woods and old farmland. Detectives obtained a search warrant and began combing through the area with cadaver dogs. The search was slow, grueling, and emotional. Cassandra waited nearby, praying for a miracle. But the miracle never came. After nearly 6 weeks of searching, on October 19, 2017, investigators finally found what they had feared most. In a shallow grave beneath a pile of concrete and potting soil, buried on Ashley McArthur's family property, lay the remains of Taylor Wright. Her body was discovered face down. Beside her, detectives found a .38 caliber bullet lodged in her skull. The gun that fired it belonged to Ashley McArthur. Detective Mike Gilmore, one of the lead investigators, would later describe the scene as heartbreaking, but not surprising. They had suspected Ashley from the beginning. Now, they finally had the proof. The discovery shocked the entire Pensacola community. For weeks, Ashley had played the role of the concerned friend, calling Taylor's girlfriend, texting her, pretending to help with the search. All the while, she knew exactly where Taylor was. Police immediately took Ashley into custody. When confronted with the evidence, she denied everything. She told investigators, "I didn't kill Taylor. I loved her. I would never hurt her." But her actions told a very different story. In Ashley's truck, forensic technicians found traces of soil and concrete dust identical to the mixture used to cover Taylor's body. Security footage from a local store showed Ashley buying potting soil, cement, and shovel handles in the days following Taylor's disappearance. And on her phone, investigators found deleted messages that revealed her growing resentment toward Taylor. One of the messages read, "I'm tired of her drama. She's always in chaos. She's going to ruin me." Another message, sent to a friend, simply said, "Taylor's not a problem anymore." By November 2017, prosecutors had charged Ashley McArthur with first-degree premeditated murder. She was denied bail and held at the Escambia County Jail. At first, her defense claimed she was being framed, that someone else had killed Taylor and buried her on the McArthur property without Ashley's knowledge. But that argument quickly fell apart. During forensic testing, investigators found Ashley's DNA on the duct tape used to bind Taylor's remains. Ballistics matched the bullet to a revolver registered to her, and most damning of all, Taylor's blood was found inside Ashley's truck. Still, Ashley showed no emotion when detectives laid out the evidence. She smiled, shrugged, and said, "You can think whatever you want." Friends and family of Taylor Wright were devastated. Cassandra, Taylor's girlfriend, told investigators, "She trusted Ashley. She believed she was safe with her. She believed she was meeting her friend, not her killer." The autopsy revealed that Taylor had been shot once in the back of the head. There were no defensive wounds. She never saw it coming. Investigators believe Ashley lured Taylor out to her family's property under the pretense of showing her horses, and once they were alone, shot her execution style. But why? Why would someone murder their best friend, a person who trusted them completely? The motive, prosecutors argued, was simple: greed. Ashley had spent the $34,000 that Taylor had entrusted her with. When Taylor demanded it back, Ashley panicked. Rather than admit she had stolen the money, she decided to silence the only person who could expose her. In the months that followed, the case against Ashley grew stronger. Witnesses came forward saying Ashley had bragged about getting away with things and had joked about knowing how to make someone disappear. Her mistress, Audra Parker, testified that Ashley was manipulative and dangerous, and that she had started carrying her gun everywhere she went. Audra told the jury she could go from laughing to cold in an instant. It was like a switch flipped. The trial began in August 2019, nearly 2 years after Taylor's murder. It quickly became one of the most followed trials in Florida that year. Inside the courtroom, Ashley McArthur appeared calm and confident. She wore neatly pressed clothes, smiled at the jury, and even cracked jokes with her attorneys. At times, she seemed to forget she was on trial for murder. Prosecutors painted a chilling picture of betrayal, of a woman who exploited her friend's trust, stole her money, and killed her in cold blood to avoid being caught. They described Ashley as a master manipulator who wore the mask of a friend until it no longer served her. The jury was shown photos of the crime scene: Taylor's body buried under layers of concrete and soil. They listened to the testimony of detectives who described how methodically the grave had been prepared. One investigator said, "This wasn't done in a panic. This was planned." Ashley's defense tried to create doubt. They suggested that the evidence was circumstantial, that there were no eyewitnesses, and that Taylor's lifestyle, her divorce, her relationships, could have made her a target for someone else. But the jury didn't buy it. The evidence was overwhelming. The timeline, the phone records, the DNA, the bank deposits, every piece led back to Ashley. On August 30th, 2019, after less than 2 hours of deliberation, the jury returned their verdict: guilty of first-degree premeditated murder. Ashley McArthur showed no visible reaction. She stared straight ahead as the judge read the sentence: life in prison without the possibility of parole. In the courtroom, Taylor's family and friends broke down in tears. For them, justice had finally been served, but the pain would never truly fade. After the trial, prosecutor Bridget Jensen said, "This wasn't a crime of passion. This was calculated, deliberate, and heartless." Taylor Wright trusted Ashley with everything: her safety, her money, her friendship, and Ashley used that trust to destroy her. In the months that followed, Ashley's story continued to fascinate the public. True crime enthusiasts dissected every detail of the case: the text messages, the lies, the cold demeanor. Many compared her to infamous female killers like Jodi Arias: charming on the outside, manipulative underneath. Inside prison, Ashley reportedly maintains her innocence to this day. In a letter to a friend, she wrote, "They got it wrong. I didn't kill Taylor. I loved her like a sister." But for Taylor's loved ones, those words ring hollow. Cassandra, in an interview years later, said, "I still have moments where I pick up my phone to text her. Then I remember she's gone, and I remember who took her from us." Taylor Wright's story is a haunting reminder of how fragile trust can be. It shows how evil can hide behind a smile, how friendship can turn fatal when greed and deception take root, and how even those who investigate lies for a living can be undone by one. Today, Taylor's memory lives on through her friends, her family, and her son, the people who knew her strength, her courage, and her heart. Her case continues to be studied by investigators and psychologists as an example of betrayal-based homicide, a crime where the victim's faith in another person becomes the weapon used against them. In the words of one detective, Taylor Wright was betrayed by the one person she never saw coming. The betrayal cost her life and cost Ashley McArthur her freedom. If you've watched until now, take a second to remember Taylor Wright, a mother, a friend, a woman who deserved far better. And if you want more true crime stories like this, real cases, real people, real consequences, make sure to subscribe to the Untold Evidence, where every story we tell uncovers what others tried to hide. Because the truth always finds its way out.